Hey everybody, it's JT. Want to do a quick chat about the Kanger Subtank Mini. Um, a lot of you heard it. There's a lot of information out there on the Kanger Subtank. The Subtank was released, and recently the Mini and Nano versions have been released also. I'm going to talk about the Mini, 22 millimeter diameter, so it sits nice and flush on the majority of tube mods out there, and looks nice on regulated box mods and everything else too. So I picked this up from Fuzion Vapor down here in Florida. I was in the middle of a road trip. When I got it, I immediately filled it up, and I used one of the included 0.5 ohm factory coil heads. Loved it. Used that factory coil head for about 2 days and then switched over to the included rebuildable base. Right? So I took out the factory. The rebuildable base actually had a coil built in it already. So I wigged it with some Japanese cotton, which they include, and been vaping on that ever since. It actually is reading 0.6, 0.7. It's been a really good vape. I'm really happy with this tank. Way happier than I was with the Atlantis. Side note, now that I mentioned the Atlantis, Aspire's Atlantis was nice. It hit the market, and it was a sub-ohm tank with lots of airflow. So I'm not bashing the Atlantis at all. But Kanger seems like they took a little more time and they put out a better tank. Straight up. The Subtank Mini comes in a nice box, as you can see. It's kind of a slide out. The tank's there, comes with a drip tip. Underneath, you find some literature, one of which is pretty nice. Because it is built, these factory coils are built with cotton, organic cotton. You may want to make sure and prime this coil, because if you fire it and it's not saturated, you're going to burn the coil. You're going to have a bad time. So it actually has a little pamphlet in there telling you to drop 2 or 3 drops of liquid in the factory coil before you vape on it. Holds like 4.5 mils. Holds a lot of juice. It comes with the 0.5 ohm factory coil, like I mentioned, and also a 1.2 ohm coil, which I love. The Atlantis did not. It came with 0.5 ohm coils, and if you didn't have a device that would fire that low, you were out of luck. So you've got extra glass as well. So if you drop the Subtank Mini and break it, you've got a spare. That's really nice. I've really enjoyed it. I have not used the 1.2 ohm head yet. I will use that and see how it does. But I have had really no dry hits. When I have had dry hits, I've been trying. I put some, probably 95% VG juice in the tank, and after about 2 or 3 vapes, I started getting dry hits. So 80% VG and lower all day long. It's going to run that. I've got no dry hits, no issues. I can't tell you how long the factory coils are going to last, because I ran it for a couple days and then switched to the rebuildable base. So you can give me some feedback on that. I imagine those coils are not cheap, though. They are pretty large. You know, it's a pretty big, bulky thing, and they're building them with cotton now. So I can imagine those could get expensive. But again, the nice thing is they give you the rebuildable base in the kit with it. You don't have to go buy it separate. In terms of airflow, you've got some options, okay? You've got one setting that is one single hole. The next setting will be 2 holes. And then there's a whole other setting that is wide open. It's the entire slot there. I usually vape in the middle with the 2-hole option. People tell me, and I can't say that I really noticed a big difference, But people tell me when you're using one of the factory coils, the stock coils, that the airflow is a little more open. When you put the rebuildable base in, I think you lose a little bit of juice capacity, and people have commented and said that the airflow gets a little tighter. Again, not something I noticed, but I don't vape with the airflow wide open anyway, so I probably never would have noticed that. It's a really good tank. Now, it runs about 35 to 40 bucks, probably depending on where you're getting it. So one thing to make sure of is before you buy some of these sub tanks, make sure you understand what sub-ohm resistance is. The thing that these tanks have done, and it's good and bad, right? It has made sub-ohm vaping available to a wider group of vapors. Maybe more people can now sub-ohm without building their own coils. But with that may come people vaping at lower resistances without really understanding what that means. When you decide to grab a tank like this and you're going to use the sub-ohm coils, just do some homework and get your local shop or go online and look up some information and understand and wrap your head around what sub-ohm vaping is. So that's why I say it's a good and bad thing. So it makes it really easy for people to get a hold of sub-ohm coils and to vape at sub-ohm resistances. But just slow down and just make sure you understand what that means totally. So that's all I say. I think it's a great tank, great flavor, better airflow than the Aspire, holds more juice than the Aspire Atlantis. I think it looks great, and it comes with options: 0.5 ohm, 1.2 ohm coils, or the rebuildable base that gives you some flexibility. I like it. Let me know what you think. If you have the Mini, comment. Tell me what you think about it so far, your experiences. Because, you know, I've only had this for about a week, maybe a week and a half. So I'm curious how long those factory coils are really going to last with all-day vaping. So feel free to comment and let us know.
Okay, here's your quick look at the Kanger Subtank Mini. Now, adjustable airflow. You can see where I use it the most is the 2 air hole option. A click over, full airflow, and then you can go back to the tighter option with the 1 air hole. To fill the tank and or to change the coils, you just unscrew the whole base there, and there you have it. As you can see, this is one of the factory coils, the 0.5 ohm factory coil. And to replace that, it's a little slippery with these gloves, sorry. Just take it out, either put a new one back on, or you can use the rebuildable base, which is this. I'm not going to take this apart, but there's a small coil in there. So you just put the rebuildable coil setup on there. And then to fill, very familiar, you fill up to, you know, to that post inside. You don't want it to go down in there. It gets in your airflow region, but just fill it, run it down the side up to that point, and that's pretty much it. Tighten it up, make sure the air flows where you want it, and vape.
That's all I got for you. Hope y'all have a great night. We'll see you next time.